You you visit with the Indian master Khushwant Singh, and he is 96 at the time. And you started that column, and you talk about the feeling of meeting, a famous writer. It is like, if I get the line right, it's like the excitement akin to a lover's tryst. And you meet him at his house, you share a drink with him, and he unfurls these just amazing pearls of wisdom about writing. Actually, very, very serious, uh, you know, thoughts about the profession. About, let's see, I've got a few comments here. Training yourself to be alone, following a slavish routine. He talks about having to write every day, even at 96, to kind of earn his daily whiskey. I have to admit, I'm embarrassed to say I wasn't aware of Singh prior to reading your book, and I found myself absolutely fascinated. I reached out to a friend and I say, "Do you know this writer?" And he said, "Not really." And we both kind of went down a rabbit hole with him. I wonder if you could just share your personal memories, thoughts. I assume, and I should add that, he was an iconoclast. He poked fun at pieties. He was an
Yeah.
agnostic Sikh, a very unusual person in the culture. Anything you want to share about
Yes,
Mr.
I was
Singh?
very, very fortunate to meet him several times before he passed away at a ripe old age. But you are absolutely right. Khushwant Singh was one of the foremost literary figures in India over these last few decades. He was an editor of great standing. He edited the famous Illustrated Weekly of India for years and years, which was in the 60s and 70s. It was the weekly magazine. It was like, life in the United States in those years. It was pictorial, it had great articles, and he was its editor, and he took it and it skyrocketed its sales, because he was not afraid to break borders. He would, he had he had a invented for himself a persona which was not quite uh, true to fact, but it was a great literary persona, that he could write anything, he would tell off anybody. There was several references to drinking and sex, and, there was a lot of titillation around whatever he wrote. And he was, at the same time, he was a very serious man. I mean, he has written the 2 volumes History of the Sikhs in the 60s, which even today is the go-to history of the Sikhs for anybody. And at the end of that book, he wrote that, a Latin phrase which escapes me now, but it means that my life's work is done. So he actually wrote that, when he finished that history, he said, even if I don't write anything else, I'm done. But he went on to write so many books which he could not even count. He edited books, he wrote novels, he wrote a couple of columns every week, which were which were circulated in many newspapers around the country, were translated. Very, very popular. But he was essentially a very serious man and a very disciplined man.
Yeah.
And but he had this thing of this whole persona of being the jolly old, slightly dirty, unruly Sikh, and his the tagline of his column used to be with malice towards one and all. So,
Right. I
he
saw
knew
that.
how to provoke, and he took very
Right.
controversial political stands at certain times in the country's history. When I actually started meeting him, he was in his 90s, and
Wow.
I would go, and he every evening he would have a kind of would hold court for about an hour,
Wow.
and you could go only by appointment. You could not just crash in. And this 1 hour became about 45 minutes as he grew older. And you could not stay. And if you wanted to stay after that, he'd tell you to get out. And he'd simply say, okay, boys and girls, now get out. And that was
That's
it.
great.
And there was a little board outside his house. It says, don't ring the bell unless you are expected. And
great.
so you would be offered a drink always. There would be a snack with it. You would always have a drink. He would have his 2 drinks and you could have your 2 drinks. If you like, later on, he reduced his drink to 1 and he would still let you have your 2 drinks. And at the same time, he would talk. I was very fortunate in 3 or 4 sessions with him to talk about writing and to talk about books and to write. So he was also very generous. I didn't dare to ask him for a blurb for my novels, but he actually covered 2 of my novels and another book in his column, and he gave me possibly the best blurb that anybody could dream of for the front cover of my historical novel, The Exile.
Yeah, I saw that.
I was scared to ask him, but my editor dared to ask him, and we got it. So but he was a wonderful presence, a very kind man, and a very talented man who had a very strong core of serious academic work, serious literary editorial skills, and still had this public persona which could shock people. But he's highly respected in the country.
Thank you for listening to the podcast. To keep up with my interviews, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. You can also go to Substack and sign up for a free Literature and Geopolitics newsletter. Every week you'll get articles by me on literary taste, current affairs, and history's curious turns. Thanks again for watching.